The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus told his disciples a parable. Can a blind person guide a blind person? Will not both fall into a pit? No disciple is superior to the teacher, but when fully trained, every disciple will be like his teacher. Why do you notice the splinter in your brother's eye, but do not perceive the wooden beam in your own? How can you say to your brother, "Brother, let me remove that splinter in your eye," when you do not even notice the wooden beam in your own eye? You hypocrite! Remove the wooden beam from your eye first. Then you will see clearly to remove the splinter in your brother's eye. A good tree does not bear rotten fruit, nor does a rotten tree bear good fruit. For every tree is known by its own fruit. For people do not pick figs from thorn bushes, nor do they gather grapes from brambles. A good person, out of the store of goodness in his heart, produces good. But an evil person, out of a store of evil, produces evil. For from the fullness of the heart, the mouth speaks. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
So throughout the diocese, we are asking people to pray about and to discern how the Lord has blessed us and how we can support the many things happening in the diocese of the ministries. So this is the one time during the year that we ask you to consider giving a gift to the diocese for the ministries, such as one of our parishioners is studying to be a priest, and so this helps defray Frank's the cost there of education, and training our deacons and other ministries as well. So we hear, just in case you're a visitor, or if this is the first time you've been back in a little while, we don't always ask for money. This is a rare occasion. So this is one time during the year, the one weekend for the diocese, and we only do it one weekend for the local church for our parish, and that's in November. But let's hear from our bishop, and you'll see the first 6 minutes is the homily, and the next 3 minutes after that is about the CMAA. A lot of times the diocese likes to make it 2 weekends, but we just conflate it into one. You're welcome. All right, so let's hear from the bishop at this time.
Open your heart to God's goodness. Open your heart to God's goodness is the theme of this year's Catholic Ministries Annual Appeal, also known as the CMAA. The theme to open your heart to God's goodness comes directly from today's gospel. In the Gospel of Luke, we hear that a good tree does not bear rotten fruit, nor does a rotten tree bear good fruit. And a good person out of the store of goodness of their heart produces good. I think most of us desire lives that are good, a church that is good, a world that is good. I hope none of us say, no, I want a life that is rotten. I want a church that's rotten. I want a world that is rotten. We don't think that way. We want what is good. If we want to be good and to do good, the only way to do that is by reflecting the goodness in our hearts. But where does that goodness in our hearts come from? It comes directly from the living source of goodness, from Jesus, our Savior. It comes from knowing, loving, and serving God. In my life, I'm blessed with really good parents who have good hearts because they've opened their hearts to the goodness of God. For the last couple of years, my parents have developed a pattern They call me every Saturday evening around 6:35 p.m. They do this because every Saturday they go to 5 p.m. Mass at their local church. After Mass, they stay around and talk to their friends and other parishioners. Then they walk through the parking lot, get into their car, and call me while they're driving home, usually at 6:35 p.m. When they call me, our conversation follows the same pattern. My mom, who's in the passenger side of their car, tells me who they saw, who they talked with, and who needs my prayers. Then she gives me a recap on the homily. A year or so ago, per usual, they called me from their car on Saturday evening at 6:35 p.m. My mom told me who they saw, who they talked with, and who needed my prayers. Then she changed subjects. So I said, Mom, wait. I said, you forgot to tell me about the homily. She replied, oh, that's because the homily today was the money talk. I said, okay, I got it. I'm sorry about that. But then my mom said, no, it's fine. We need to hear that reality sometimes. Your father and I were talking about it right now as we were walking through the parking lot to our car, and we've made the decision to increase our weekly donation to the parish. That's good, that's great, I said to her. Then I asked her a question that I have never, ever asked of my mom and dad. I said, Mom, out of curiosity, how much do you and Dad give to church every week? Then she told me the amount. And I asked, Mom, is that how much you give every week or every month? And she said, no, that's how much we give every week. Immediately, I thought to myself, my parents are retired school teachers. They live a comfortable life, but they certainly are not rich or wealthy. I said, Mom, that's really generous how much you give every week. So I don't think that you have to increase your giving at all. When I said that to her, I was humbled and delighted by her response. She said, your father and I have talked about it, and we both feel that God has been so good to us. We don't have a lot of money, but what we have, and if we're able to do so, we want to be generous to God and the church. So we're going to increase our donation. My parents are good people with good and generous hearts. Today, I'm asking you to open your heart to God's goodness. The theme for the 2025 appeal is Open Your Heart to God's Goodness. By opening our hearts to God's goodness, we embrace all the magnificence God has created. And one powerful and meaningful way to do so this year is by helping our brothers and sisters in need through your support of the CMAA. The CMAA is the lifeline behind these ministries that our Catholic Church is rooted in. Ministries that rely on your generosity to stay strong in our service to others throughout the Diocese of Joliet. All the ministries the CMAA focuses on are vital. Catechesis and evangelization is one such ministry. Its core mission is to guide and grow our youth, young adults, and those with disabilities in their Catholic faith. And that's just a small example of one ministry your gift supports. Today, in our diocese, we serve over 44,000 less fortunate through programs that house homeless, feed the hungry, provide support for the elderly, help mothers in need, and protect the most innocent and vulnerable among us. The future of the Catholic Church rests on the shoulders of one of the most essential ministries under the CMAA umbrella, that is, vocations. Those who are called by God to the priesthood and religious life require extensive education and formation to prepare them in their roles as spiritual shepherds. Your contribution makes this possible. By participating in the Catholic Ministries Annual Appeal, you truly are opening your heart to God's goodness. Together, we can provide so much for so many who rely on the services that your kindness and generosity continue to make possible year after year. I ask that you prayerfully consider making a gift today. If you are in a financial position to do so, please give. And give thought also to increasing your gift or pledge from last year. Every offering received is a blessing to those who benefit, and it is greatly appreciated. I realize that not everyone is able to contribute to this year's CMAA, and to those of you who are unable, please know that you are in my thoughts and prayers. As I mentioned, the CMAA provides an abundance of opportunity to open your heart to God's goodness. I want to thank you personally for both your financial generosity and generosity of spirit that you demonstrate daily by donating your time and talents to the Catholic ministries in your own parishes and outreach programs throughout the Diocese of Joliet. You are the heart and soul that keeps our faith communities loving, growing, and vibrant. Together, we can make the 2025 Catholic Ministries Annual Appeal a tremendous success. Please know that I am humbled by your kindness and grateful for your support. So, in advance, thank you for your generosity, and may you and your hearts be blessed by God's goodness.
Okay.